Hi everybody, good evening. My name is Alan, and on behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. You know, I mean, as we go through our lives and as we live day to day, we think there are a lot of reasons and a lot of good reasons that we separate ourselves from other people, we separate ourselves from ourselves, but now really is the time to come together. There are so many reasons seemingly why we should be apart, why we should feel separate. And there's one true reason why we should feel connected, why we should feel one. And that is because we really are one. And we really are, on this particular planet, we all really are brothers and sisters here. And we are one with the trees and the mountains and the dolphins and the streams and everything. And it's time for us to have that experience. That experience really is available now. That bliss, that love, that connectedness, that oneness is truly available for us now, and now into infinity. And that is the experience that this show has been about from the very beginning, and tonight's show again is an example of that. We have with us two extraordinary people whose lives are dedicated in their own ways, through writing, through teaching, through music, through singing, to connect us all and to connect themselves to that truth, to that oneness. And if we can participate in the show with them tonight, we will have an experience that will take us closer into that love. We have with us tonight Mark Jones, who's a spiritual teacher. He's an author of this extraordinary new book, Bliss is Everywhere Now. And he flew in just a little while ago from New Mexico just to be with us tonight. And we're just honored to have Mark with us. And we also have with us tonight Shanti Shivani Mafi, who's a master musician and a Dhurpad singer, and just her being is an expression of that joy. And so tonight we have people who are coming at that joy and coming into that joy in different ways seemingly, but the way is the same. The way is love, the way is inspiration. So just whatever you've done today, whatever you think is the drama in your life, let it go. Just sit with us for the next 58, 59, 60 minutes and let that love of Mark and Shanti, and hopefully a few seconds from me, take you into another experience, take you into the one experience we truly all want. So please, as we normally do at this time, join me in a short meditation to connect up, to slow down, to let that surrender start to happen in your life. And if you don't know a technique, just close your eyes, follow your breath, or just get in a comfortable position and just settle in for a second. So please join me. Thank you. So really just settle in for a beautiful hour. So we're going to start tonight's show with Shanti doing an improvised composition in Dhurpad style, Raga Yaman. Now, I don't know what it means, but it's extraordinarily beautiful. So just open your heart, open your ears, and just open your eyes, and I think you'll have an experience that we had earlier in the sound check. So Shanti, whenever you're ready, please.
Ke Bano
Hi, welcome. Thank you, Shanti. That was fantastic. So we're on the set with Mark. So you've written this book, Bliss is Everywhere now. Now, what does bliss mean to you?
Well,
I was going to ask you, what does everywhere mean? No.
Well, actually, see, that's the thing. That's the question that I get from just about everybody.
I try not to be too much.
No. It's like, what I hear is, what are you talking about, man? Don't you see all the suffering that's everywhere, that exists everywhere? Well, that's the thing. According to the tradition that I'm from, which is a yogic tradition, sure, it's observable, there's suffering, but the suffering exists at a certain level of being. It basically exists at the mental level, at the level of our mind. Bliss and joy and love, I think, as you well know, are their innate qualities. They are what we are. They're our deepest beingness. And my definition of bliss is going to sound somewhat scientific because of coming from this yogic tradition. Bliss is the highest, is how we experience, how the highest vibration, because everything is vibration. This whole realm is nothing but vibration. That's how it's experienced by the individual, by you, by me, by everyone. And so, from in our tradition, the slight differences in the vibration, whether it's experience as love or bliss or joy or peace, any of the innate qualities, which And this is something that I'd like to stress is that these things are our birthright. They're always with us. They're not dependent on anything external, nothing external. You can, have the worst possible experience that you can possibly imagine, and yet still within you and as your beingness, bliss and love and joy dwell and are what you are.
Now you talk about like part of your tradition is the yogic tradition, but in your book, from what I got out of it, was that it was like what people call a channeling from like the higher self or something, which started in terms of human time fairly recently. Now channeling, as far as I know, isn't part of the yogic tradition. They probably kick you out of the yogic tradition.
As a matter of fact, yeah, there's some people within my own tradition that look askance at channeling.
But look askance at almost everything.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's a very valuable tradition. Once again, nothing, in my view, is a box. You don't ever want to get put in a box or put anything into a box. And what I would say about channeling, all it is connection with the higher self, the source, in whatever way you look at it. Now, some people tend to view that, they're channeling another entity and that it's separate from them. Well, in essence, as you well know, nothing is separate. It's all the same being. We're all the same being expressing through different bodies. That's what it is. So even though the person, in the case of, more New Age channelers, think it's a separate being, in a sense it very well may be. It may be another individualization of consciousness that they're bringing through. But in the end, ultimately, there's only one thing. So, yeah, channeling, my tradition is Kriya Yoga, Yogananda, and that bunch. And channeling is something
that's
apart
autobiography of a yogi, right?
Yeah, correct. It's something that's apart from that developed in me, just spontaneously.
And that's an interesting story. This was December 25th, 95. Am I getting the date right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and so how did this happen? And so you were involved in the so-called spiritual path before that. And involved with Yogananda and autobiography of yogi and Kriya Yoga. And then all of a sudden you were sitting around Christmas Day, and what happened?
Well, it's
no presents.
I had been interested in channeling for a while because I had come to see it from some of the stuff that I'd read in other people's works as a valid means to bring very useful information down into the physical reality. With time, that's how I've come to define channeling. That's all that it is. It brings useful information down into the physical reality through whatever means. Whether the person is channeling another individualized being, in which case they go into trance, trance mediumship. In my case, I don't do that because what I hear internally, I hear what Yogananda called the inner voice. It's just a conversation with your high self, essentially. And I just write that stuff down.
And you do it at a computer, so
I do it at a computer.
Technological.
Yeah, I've spiffed it up a little bit.
Right.
And sometimes...
Now, does it come through in words, or is it just like images, or...?
There's two different ways generally that it comes through. Sometimes I can just listen and I hear a voice and it's like taking dictation.
Does it sound like your voice to you, or does it sound like another voice to you?
It's not. It doesn't have the timbre of my. It's me. It's my higher self. In my opinion, it has a slightly different timbre, but I don't pay any attention to that. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the information itself. And other times, the difference is sometimes you get that type of sensation. Then other times it just flows through. With no. It's like a flowing through. And your fingers are typing, generally faster than what you normally type. It's pretty fast. And it just flows through without that, dynamic. The thing that I would like to stress for people, because I think it's important, anybody can do this. It's available to anybody. And you can get very useful information specific to you and your path. And you can also get a lot of wonderful, more general information about the oneness and innate qualities, what I call innate qualities, which in our culture, unfortunately,
You mean the Western culture?
In the Western culture, in the United States specifically. I'd say a large body of the people are unaware that joy is what they are, that it dwells within them. Intelligence and joy and love is what we are. And so what does that cause? Well, it causes this. Everybody's looking outside, trying to find it, and they'll have an experience outside that sparks it off in them. You know, it always arises from within. But then the focus, unfortunately, becomes external, and it's
to recreate the same external.
You want to do that same thing over and over, whether it's, you know,
drugs, sex, rock and roll,
drink tons of booze, whatever.
Or go to the Grand Canyon or the ocean, I mean, they're beautiful things.
Exactly, and there are many valid ways, and that's a good example to spark it off. But in the end, and I think you know this real well, all you have to do is sit still in meditation, and it's inside of you now. There's no waiting involved.
And in essence, even if you're walking around, it's what you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you have to. I mean, it's a good place to be quiet and experience it at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like when you get up or you go to, you know, it's not in North Dakota. You know, no, nothing's in North Dakota. But no, but we don't show in North Dakota, so no one's going to know that.
No, it's true. It doesn't ever go away.
Right. It's not like somebody drives it up to the back of a hall where the teacher is, or.
Yeah, and then they dish it out,
right.
and they're serving it out.
Right.
No, the only thing a teacher can do is help you to find it in yourself, at least the highest ones. If you're ever involved with anybody and they're telling you that they got something and they're going to give it to you, and, you know, just run from that, because the highest teachers always say the same thing. It's technically everywhere now. It's you know, it's not only inside but outside. Everything is made of God. God is everything. She was everywhere.
Can be outside that energy.
Yeah,
it's like hello.
It's not possible.
Right.
But you know, many the yogic saints and stuff say that one of the fastest ways to discover that is just to look within.
Right.
And, you know, you can
right.
run into
well,
it.
yeah, because you're quieting everything else down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what exists when nothing is looking, nothing's hearing, the external sounds or sights.
Yeah.
And the mind isn't going. Which
And
is
the mind isn't
trickiest
going. That I think for everybody is the hardest
because that's where
part.
our identity lives, our separate identity.
Yeah, exactly. And
so your book has different, you know, like tools and helpful hints for people to go past that, the limitations of the separate mindset.
Yep.
So why don't you go into a few of those?
Well, there's all sorts of different ways and practices, but of course one of the fundamental ones is the practice of meditation. And although meditation can be done in many different ways, in my tradition, what we do is it would be called just being in the beingness, just sitting in the stillness, or just sitting. And initially, a technique is used, often like a mantra, mentally repeated, or watching either the breath, or something that I've found is very useful is to observe the visual field that you see when your eyes are closed, and concentrate on doing that, and you keep bringing the attention back, you know, to that visual field. After a time of doing this, it you know, as you well know, and I think many people know, it takes some time to get to the point where the mind does begin to quieten some. So it takes, meditation is a practice that you get involved in with the intention that you're going to do it for a while, you know, before you. Now, so for some people, you know, it can be different, and they can go right off. But for most people in the U.S., it takes a while. Another great practice that I would really recommend that anybody might check out is breath practices. Are you familiar with circular breathing at all? It comes from rebirthing.
Yeah, but I've barely circular breathing or anything, but you know, I've heard about it.
Yeah. It's all it is. It's a method. It's a conscious breath method. and what you do is you just connect the in-breath and the out-breath. There's no pause like there is in normal breath patterns. So one begins this, in a comfortable position, preferably lying down, and at a fairly moderate to fast rate of speed, not so fast that you're going to hyperventilate, but you just are continually breathing. You're continually breathing. What this does is it infuses just a huge volume of prana, or life force energy, chi, different names for the same thing. It infuses that prana, and after a period of doing this, like probably about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, for some people up to 40 minutes to 2 hours, as long as you want to do it, as long as you can do it, just let go of the practice. All during this practice, what you've been doing is you're drawing in the prana into the physical and astral body and energizing, and you will feel it. I mean, you will be vibrating, at this point. Then you let go of the breath. You let it go completely, and you rest in the stillness. At this point, there's a real good chance that the individual will spontaneously feel joy and love and bliss from within them. And the big wonderful thing about this practice is within 20 minutes to half an hour, they've had this experience, and they may not have had it, with months of meditation. So
why do you think that is?
Because of the dynamic nature of the infusion
because
of the prana.
Because it's hard for the Western mind to settle.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
It's almost like we have to do something active to settle. We have to run to slow down.
It helps. It helps in this case, because in doing that, then it's part of I really feel strongly it's part of my job here on earth, just to share, like you do, that we're joy, or to put it another way, that joy is always inside of us. It's always with us. And so in finding these practices and in talking about them, then that's one of the main ways that I do it.
To open somebody to the possibility.
Exactly, and to let them have their own experience of it. If they do circular breathing for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then let go, that's what you do. You're lying down, you've been breathing, it's obvious what I mean. It's continuous breath. You let go of the breath completely. And when you do, normally for me, you don't even need to breathe for like a minute or two, because you've got so much prana and oxygen. When you let go, that's what I'd say to viewers, just see what happens. Just rest in that still place and see what happens. And the experience may be one of, joy and fullness and love just welling up from within. And
now, is there like a training session for this? Is there a particular way to do it that, would be, learnable the first time? And is that under a certain, like, Kriya Yoga? Is that taught at Kriya Yoga centers?
No, it's actually, there is a training for it. It's taught at formal rebirthing places. If you look, if the viewers are interested, if they just merely look in the phone book under rebirthing, they'll teach it to you. But the essence is just as I've described. You just merely connect the in-breath and out-breath and make the breath continuous at a moderately fast rate. And if you just lie down, the person will just lie down and try that. They'll see what it is, because within a few minutes you'll start infusing the body with the prana, and then that can be felt. It's a felt experience. It's very groovy. It's very groovy.
So it just feels good.
It feels good. You can feel the energy. You can feel the energy is what it is. And at that point, then they're on the right track with it, and then they can continue.
So there'd be meditation, the circular breathing. What would be some other ideas you could have for people?
Repetition of mantra is a really good way. All that mantras are specific vibrational frequencies, and in repeating them, what happens is you put yourself in contact with the energy that's represented by the mantra, like Om. Om is a good example. Everything here in this is just vibration. Every physical body, everything that we see, it's just vibration. Where does it come from? It comes from Om, which
is the root vibration.
It's the root vibration, and it, as you well know, that comes from the source, the oneness and beyond to the transcendent level. But so mantra repetition is very useful. Interestingly, there's some Western devices that people have come up with. Biocircuits. Are you familiar with
biofeedback machines? Is that?
They're similar. They were invented by a man by the name of Eamon in the early 20th century, and it's a method that uses copper mostly, screens and stuff. It's a device that balances the energies in the body. This is a way that, once again, with time, it takes multiple exposure to it. It will help the individual come to a place of more internal stillness. Let's see, what others that I can
And
think
all
of.
these techniques are basically, in one way or another, to stop the world, to quiet the mind, to see what exists, what is a human being without all the chatter of mind that identifies you as Mark Jones author, Mark Jones husband, wife, father, in Santa Fe, New Mexico, whatever stupid things we identify with at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's very true, Alan. That is what we're doing, and as you do that more and more, the person will start to have the experience of themselves as instead of personal identity, intelligence itself, or love,
Consciousness, or
love. All of us, I think, can. Many of us can remember past life experiences. I remember.
Some of us can't remember what happened yesterday, so we're in that kind of bind nowadays.
But we might not be able to remember what happened yesterday.
Right.
We might be able to remember what happened 2,000 years ago. I remember clearly past life experiences when I was a woman, and I lived prominently in Egypt. I was a woman, I lived in Egypt, and I remember it clearly. Now, I'd ask your viewers out there, here I am, a man.
Okay, the one person out there, get ready.
Here I am, a man in the late 20th century. Then I was a woman in Egypt in the past. But in essence,
that's the question.
I was.
Very,
but
very attractive.
In essence, I'm not either one.
Right.
Yeah. We're souls.
So I mean, and that's the value of remembering that, because we won't get so attached to the specific life form we've taken now.
And it's fun too.
It's fun to know.
It's fun. I have to be honest. It's fun for me to remember that experience because it was a very alive and vibrant incarnation. I had been born.
Do you ever remember any boring ones where you just hacking around? Just hacking around for 60 years.
Yeah, I was a woman. I lived in India. That was just a common life. But this one,
you spoke with a very nice accent.
Yes, I had a little. Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, that was so good.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
All right, well, now that we've spoken Hindi, now we got to get some Hindi music. All right, so now we're going to have Shanti play her second set. It's improvised alap, Dhurpad style, again, don't ask, Ras Yaman. And it's, again, just feel the vibration of the voice and the instrument coming together. Just for a while, just close your eyes. I mean, I know that Shanti's beautiful to look at, but just let that vibration carry you a little bit. So whenever we're ready, Shanti is going to do her second set. Thank you.
Re
Wow, thank you, Shanti. That was fantastic. And also, I was watching, like we're watching part of Shanti because I was in the same set. Well, maybe not obviously, but she was on the same set as us. But also, some of the time I was watching the monitor to see what everybody out in the television world, all 6 million of you were watching. And I must say that I don't often say this, but the camera people and the people in the control room, I mean, that was so beautiful. And we were watching it here, Mark and I, and it was, just the images were really fantastic. So, I just wanted to, tell you guys that. So, we're back with Mark on the set. So, Mark, now that you've written this book, well, first of all, what prompted you to write a book of all the ways to get that message, to get that experience out? Why didn't you do a television show? God help you.
That was your job to do.
I understand.
No,
apparently, as it turns out.
I think why is because I'm a writer. It's my natural. And I'm a talker. I'm a writer and talker. And it doesn't mean that I couldn't do a TV show too. But this was something that inside, I felt I wanted to share with people, and it's one of the quickest ways to do it. You can these days you can get the word out in one way or the other, pretty quick that way. So,
is your book available on the internet? I mean, I know a lot of people. It is.
Yeah, you can get it from Amazon.com. Barnes and Noble. It's available.
On all the internet books and all that.
Amazon.com.
But you don't have your own page where you can get sections of it, or you do now?
I have my own website.
You do.
And people would be welcome to check it out. I'll say it.
No, better not.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions about where Shanti actually is going to be playing a lot of concerts and workshops and all other kinds of things all over the world. So if you ever want any information about Mark's book, call me. It's 805-687-2053. As most of you know, this is done at a public access nonprofit facility. So we really honor that, and so we try to make it. I mean, everybody who writes a book wants to sell it, or everybody who does a workshop wants people to come because the information is so valuable, and they feel so strongly about getting it out. But we really honor the non-commercial aspects of it.
Sure, so, I understand completely.
And it's just incredible that this is all, this show goes out all over the world, and it's all done with volunteers, at a non-profit facility. All the equipment and all the, everything here is made available, and the staff just helps us out, and it's just an extraordinary thing what public access is. So,
it is. It's a wonderful thing.
It is a wonderful thing.
It's a great thing. But it's just like you say, that's the fundamental impulse, is just to share it. And I think each person in the end will come up with their own way that's suited to them. Shanti does a wonderful job with the music. And so for me, just from my own experience in living in the world in the 20th century and my early life, which was fun. I played rock and roll, actually, and did some other things. But it was just what we were talking about earlier. It's always doing this, looking outside, for what you already have inside.
What was the trigger that turned you inside?
I think it probably was a combination of factors. It was aging. I had gotten to my early 40s, and at that time I was still playing music in bars and stuff and doing solo acoustic type stuff. And I just got to a point where that had provided a source of,
run its course.
it had run its course, and it had provided sustenance, in the past, and it wasn't. And so I just embarked on a spiritual search.
Why that rather than, took more drugs or had more, what, I mean, was it just by some grace that led you in that? I mean, had you been reading about that? Did you know about it?
I think it has to do, this type of question, the answer really is in what is happening at the level of the soul. I think that's where the answer is. I was raised a Methodist. That didn't resonate with me at all. Nothing against Christianity, but it didn't resonate with me. And
we usually talk bad about most of the religions. So you're just fitting right in, so don't worry about it. I think we've talked about Christians. I mean, the article that was just in the paper recently, we were talking about, and I grew up Jewish, and I mean, it's hard to resonate with something that seems to separate you from everything else.
Yeah,
I mean, because in your heart, in your soul, you know that there's a one, and you know that you're everyone's brother and sister, everyone's, you're just one. We're all, and so anything that says, no, you're not, you're this, as opposed to something else.
It doesn't.
It's somewhere along the line, it's hard to resonate.
Yeah. And I think that, a lot of what has happened in the past, unfortunately, in some of the more, the larger traditional religions, has been involved. There have been some, what you would call power and control things at the human level going on. But no, for me, it was a soul, impulse to awaken more, and it just happened for me that my path is mostly would be considered Hinduism in the West. It's sort of an eclectic thing that combines that, but that's,
So I mean, was it you just stumbled into a bookstore, went to the spiritual section, and Yogananda's book fell on your foot, or I mean, was it one of those kind of things?
Sort of, yeah, sort of. I got interested in Tai Chi, and so I started doing that, and then from there, I ran into some friends that were involved in that, and they suggested that I check out a few things. And once I started to check out things, then it just did one of these,
further up and further in,
everywhere, reading everything: New Age, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, all the isms basically.
And the Yogananda book was the one that seemed to really light your fire, as they say in the Rolling Stone world that we live in.
Yeah. Well, I realized, that I had a connection with that lineage. That's what the realization was, that I had a connection back in time with that lineage. So there's no one true way to get to this place that we're already at. Because there's no need of any one true way. But it just was a good resonance.
It was the one for you.
It
and all you needed was the one for you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all everyone needs, is the one for them.
Exactly. And, I feel like everybody else. It'll be very different and unique and sweet and special for each person. Some people, they'll get really, some people are very devotional, very intensely devotional. Bhakti, it's called Bhakti Yoga in Hinduism. And I have that as a part, but it's less. I'm more a yogi, more into Raja, and
Raja meaning
it's the meditative path. It means royal, but it's the meditative path. So for me personally, I find connection with Buddha mind, the term Buddha mind, or pure consciousness, very abstract things. But then at the same time, I also find, I find connection with people and with saints, Yogananda, Sri Ramakrishna, the Buddha, That's another thing that we maybe ought to talk about this for a second. Right now, at any point in time, a person can contact anybody, whether or not they have a physical body. So the physical body will come and go with time. It comes and goes, it comes and goes. But, if we're spirit, we can't be the physical body. So if you are drawn to contacting the Buddha or Yogananda or any saint or anybody, we're all saints. They just have further actualized it. You can do it now.
Yeah, I gave him my number already. No.
Yeah.
Everything's clear now. He's got everything straight. So your feeling is that people can get guidance from anyone who they seem to feel a connection to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been my experience, is that you can get still and intend to contact. Well, for example, Buddhism's a good example of this. In Buddhism, in some of the branches of Buddhism, they do this all the time as a practice. They contact, Buddhas, that's the soul. That's what we are. It's just an aspect of consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
And they do this intentionally, and they get results. It works. It works. So
and results are the experience of love, of truth.
Yeah, because that individual, as a vibration, has actualized that more. So it's just like you and I sitting here and talking and vibing together. It's the same thing. It's just it's just a bigger level, or
is it a bigger level, or is it seemingly a bigger level? In other words, like it's always
a more conscious level.
You think it is?
Yeah, from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you do this inside, and you say you desire to contact Swami Muktananda, who's no longer in the body, just for a person, sit and get quiet and intend to do that. Maybe even mentally call out Muktananda's name and observe what happens. You may have the experience of dramatically strong, powerful energy right now, not later, now. And that's Muktananda. And you can interface, get information, party, groove.
Is he a partier? I've never heard that about Muktananda.
Well,
it's a little astonishing. I heard he was more of a staid kind of character. No.
Well, he is, that's the thing is, Muktananda was one that talked about the play of consciousness. And the play of consciousness, they used to call this a Leela.
Right.
It's
God's joke.
It's God's joke, but it's a fun joke. And we're God, so we're supposed to have fun here.
Yeah, it's our playground.
It's our playground. We just have forgotten.
And your book basically is to help the remembrance of the joy of being in a physical body, whether it's male, female, black, white, young, old, gay, non, whatever, all the differentiations we seem to make here. The joy is the root.
Yeah. And if I would only hope that my book in some small way helps that, because once a person, as you know, once a person has that experience, then it with time or now, it will fill them up, and they will feel comfortable here in a physical body, and they will feel comfortable in other realms.
They'll feel not only comfortable, they'll feel joy.
They'll feel great. They'll feel they'll feel joy. Yeah, I don't mean comfortable to be
just like an old shoe.
Yeah. But that's the problem with this realm, is that so many times people do not feel comfortable being here.
Well, actually, I think somebody once went to the Buddha or one of the masters and said, I'd like to, experience bliss and light. I said, well, you got to get to even first. You got to get to where you're not freaked out all the time. So if you've got a ways to go. So, but do you find that during this period, coming to the new millennium, that like the process is speeding up? So we're, whatever would have taken before lifetimes or 50 years or whatever, that is happening faster and faster for people. That openness or opening to the truth of what they really are is coming quicker in human time, in a sense, because the energies are building for that to happen.
Yeah, that's my own experience and feeling, is that's what's happening right now. The energy, in fact, in the greater world, you'll notice many people right now have chest flu, or, well, this is just the heart, it's just the energy pushing at the heart. In the global realm, that's what's happening. There's more and more energy. It's trying to push at any restriction that is a restriction to love and joy.
So you've been traveling with this book to like book signings and to workshops and things like that.
I've been doing some book signings. I haven't done any workshops yet, but I may in the future.
Are you planning on doing that?
I would like to. I would be open to it. I have my second book finished, and have been involved in just trying to
What's
get
the
it
name of that?
blissed out.
Bliss out, I was going to say, Bliss, where are you now? No, that would be a step back for sure.
Now,
Blissed out.
it's a very different book. It's not a channel book. It's about a trip I took to India and the experiences of that trip. And then it's sort of what I call stream of consciousness grab bagging. That's where it starts, but then it goes here and that goes there.
Wow. So are you just kind of shopping it around to various publishers? And
Well, actually, as with my first book, I'll self-publish it. I did the shopping around thing for a couple of years and just didn't get anywhere. So then I decided to.
yeah, unless you're Deepak Chopra or Marianne Williamson, or you sold 400 million books by yourself.
Yeah. That's the sad truth.
It is.
It really is.
And what they used to do, they're cutting back more even. So I guess we're again coming to the end of the show, and I'm just delighted that you could join us and join Mark and Shanti and have the experience that I hope you had, because I had it here and I could feel the energy of the studio audience and just everyone here just having that love. And I want to specifically thank Tim over at the Montecito Del Mar Hotel for comping a room for Mark and allowing all our recent guests to stay in their beautiful hotel. So, and really, I want to thank all of you. I mean, we get so many calls and so many emails and so many letters, just inspiring us and thanking us and letting everyone know that the love is really getting through. So we just want to thank you again. Good night. God bless you. Be in love. Thank you.